From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, April 12th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,260 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $426. And HowWar.com reports as European businesses scramble to get in on the major contracts being offered by the Iranian government for reconstruction after the end of decades of sanctions, Britain is still struggling to get in on the matter as British banks are overwhelmingly refusing to get involved in financing such deals. The problem is not internal to Britain, rather the major British banks have significant U.S. business interests and are afraid of being pushed by the U.S. government, even though the banking sanctions were supposed to have been lifted way back in January. In late March, the U.S. State Department denied doing anything to block banks from doing deals with Iran, though those same officials admitted last week that they were keeping Iran out of the international financial system and that Iran is forbidden from using dollars in any transaction. British trade envoy Norman Lamont complained that the threats to the banks were an obstacle, and as the trade ministry tries to get an official delegation of British government and business leaders to Tehran to open up negotiations, they are facing the growing possibility that they won't have any banks willing to take part. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. UPI reports Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe scrapped a proposal to let his state use the electric chair when it cannot find lethal injection drugs, instead proposing Monday to allow the state to hire a pharmacy to secretly produce a special batch. The Democratic governor faced a midnight deadline Sunday to veto or amend a bill from the General Assembly. His decision, which failed to get legislative approval in 2015, would allow the Department of Corrections to secretly make the drugs through compounding pharmacies and use them without public scrutiny. These pharmacies do not have the same U.S. Food and Drug Administration regulations as large drug makers. Legislators will decide April 20th whether to accept the amendment. McAuliffe, who supports the death penalty, told Republicans who control the General Assembly a veto of this bill will halt capital punishment in the Commonwealth of Virginia. House Bill 815 would have allowed the state to execute an inmate with an electric chair if it could not acquire the drugs to carry out a lethal injection. Florida, Texas, and Ohio have similar laws to what McAuliffe proposes. States have struggled to carry out capital punishment with lethal injection drugs being scarce. Last year, the Supreme Court upheld the use of midazolam in lethal injections. The drug has become a last resort for many states. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports police arrested more than 400 protesters outside the U.S. Capitol on Monday from Democracy Spring, an organization seeking to remove big money from politics and combat restrictive voter identification laws. The mostly calm and orderly demonstration resulted in arrest for what the U.S. Capitol Police called unlawful demonstration activity such as crowding and obstruction. Organizers vowed to repeat the demonstration every day for a week. Democracy Spring said on its website the protest was held to demand Congress take immediate action to end the corruption of big money in our politics and ensure free and fair elections. Democracy Springs list actor Mark Ruffalo and academic Noam Chomsky and dozens of well-known activist groups among its supporters. Police arrested those who sat on the stairs of the east front of the Capitol, the seat of the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Democracy Spring traces its roots to the end of the Occupy Los Angeles movement, and its rise coincides with the presidential campaigns of Democrat Bernie Sanders and Republican Donald Trump, both of whom speak against the influence of campaign contributions on politicians. While most of the groups involved are associated more with Democrats than Republicans, the group says they are officially nonpartisan. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.